Hello everyone, and welcome to my Bold and Beautiful Today channel. Steffy threatens Luna as Liam and Hope's memories come flooding back. According to the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for the week of May 12th to 16th, Luna Nozawa will have to withstand Steffy Forrester's, Jacqueline McInnes Wood, stern warning, while Liam Spencer and Hope Logan's memories will flood back. First, Sheila Sharp, Kimberlyn Brown, with all of her discussion about Luna will momentarily ruin their supper at Il Giardino, where Bill Spencer, Don Diamont, would be happy to make amends with Liam. Nevertheless, Liam is determined to mend his friendship with Bill regardless of whatever resentment he may have for Luna. Liam will keep quiet about his inoperable brain mass, but Bill will express how much they mean to each other. Additionally, when Hope meets with Liam again, she will not discuss what Steffy told her. Hope won't reveal the true cause of her realization, even if she will admit that she feels as though she took Liam's affection for granted. As Hope and Liam reunite in the upcoming episodes, they will encounter a strong flow of memories. It will serve as a reminder to both of them of the reasons they fell in love in the first place, but Liam's depressing health situation will make matters more difficult. Liam's misery will grow almost intolerable when he considers having to leave Hope and his girls behind. Even though they might not have much of a future together, Hope will eventually strive for one with Liam. Hope's major promise to her ex-husband will be overheard by Carter Walton, Lawrence St. Victor, who will eavesdrop at the worst possible moment. In the end, it will push Carter into the arms of Daphne Rose, Muriel Hilaire, who is trying to win him over. Daphne will interpret this as another evidence that Carter, rather than Hope, belongs with her. But since he doesn't want Hope to devote all of her time and energy to a romance that will end tragically, Liam will have other ideas. By the time we see Liam nudging Hope back toward Carter, will he have already fallen in love with Daphne? According to other B&B teasers, after discovering Luna at the Cliff House with John Finnegan, Steffy will enforce the law. Steffy will make it very evident that Luna is not wanted there, even if she will defend her wish to meet her father. Steffy may give Finn a strong warning and encourage him to enforce boundaries more effectively after she gives Luna a severe one. The news of Luna's visit will undoubtedly make Steffy unhappy, so she will attempt to clear up some confusion. Later on, Rebecca Budig's character Taylor Hayes would learn about Liam's brain tumor and the fact that Steffy told Hope about it even though he didn't want her to. Finn and Taylor will both believe that Steffy acted appropriately in the given situation. Lastly, Liam will approach Finn to have a crucial discussion regarding Steffy and Hope. Finn might fulfill Liam's final desire after he insists that he will assist in bringing Hope and Steffy together. Stay in for more on all the difficult drama to come, as spoilers for the Bold and the Beautiful indicate that Liam will make some predictions about the kind of world he wishes to leave behind for his family. Hope Logan was on the brink of emotional collapse, holding on to memories like lifelines as her world fell apart more quickly than she could put it back together. Liam was slipping through her fingers, both physically and emotionally, and his deteriorating health threatened to turn her love story into a eulogy. She visited him every day, her eyes begging for a miracle that might never come, even as she pretended not to notice that each embrace was weaker than the last, clinging to the belief that love might repair what fate was ruining. Luna, on the other side of town, had completely stopped acting. The new member of the Forrester inner circle, who had previously been timid and ready to please, now stood erect with a bravery that nobody had anticipated, least of all Steffy. Since Luna started spending more and more time with Finn, asking pointed questions disguised as innocent curiosity, expressing concern that had an oddly personal edge, and showing up where she wasn't supposed to be, like the clinic, Finn's office, or Steffy's house when only he was supposed to be there, tensions between Luna and Shin had been simmering beneath the surface for weeks. After helping her through an emotional crisis, Finn, who was always trustworthy, dismissed it as misguided gratitude, but Steffy knew better. She had met people like Luna before, ambitious, perceptive, and cunning. It was a scene of pure B&B chemistry when Steffy confronted Luna in the executive office of Forrester. Steffy demanded answers, and Luna responded with accusations, even going so far as to imply that perhaps Steffy was too insecure to trust Finn and that perhaps her supposedly perfect marriage wasn't as stable as she wanted everyone to think. Maybe he needs someone who actually sees him, Luna murmured as Finn entered. Steffi's face became pale, not out of fear but in rage, and she said in a low, menacing tone, "You're done, Luna." But was she? Because stories started to spread among the staff members even as Luna was being led out of the building that day. Had Finn and Luna gone too far? Had Steffi put off drawing the line too long? Hope, meanwhile, was engaged in her own conflict without realizing the mayhem that was breaking out between her brother-in-law and the woman her mother had once referred to as a ticking time bomb. Fear, not toxicity, was the reason behind her passionate love for Liam. Her concern increased each time she entered his hospital room and noticed how weaker he was. She pleaded with Bridget for information, urged Finn to try anything to stop his decline, and most recently, called Liam's father, Bill Spencer, in a desperate attempt to persuade him to discuss experimental treatments with his son overseas. Bill took that call as a personal condemnation since he was troubled by his history and felt guilty about the years he lost with Liam. Now, it was about his legacy rather than merely his son. Bill started to face himself, not Hope, as a result. He had been destroying people's lives for years, including those of Brooke, Katie, Liam, and even Wyatt, all the while believing that power and money could make everything better. However, when he saw Liam deteriorate and realized he couldn't buy time, he started to face the reality that his influence was useless in this situation. Even worse, his absence at crucial junctures in Liam's life had caused scars that no amount of money could mend. Bill didn't have a private physician, a court filing, or even a strategy when he entered Liam's hospital room. He brought remorse. The exchange between father and son was subtly heartbreaking. Liam, exhausted and emotionally spent, simply questioned, "Why now?" Bill was unable to respond to the inquiry. Hope listened through the door across the hall, her fingers shaking on the frame, for despite her clinging, she knew that Liam wasn't at peace if he still harbored hate toward his father, and how could she ever let him go if he wasn't at peace? Even as Carter started to circle back into her orbit, offering support and gentle consolation, reminding her that there was more to life than the sadness she was refusing to acknowledge, her desire to grasp onto him grew stronger. No one, not even Carter, could convince Hope that she didn't want comfort, she wanted Liam. Luna, who was now considered an unofficial outcast at Forrester, continued to cause trouble. She set up a private rendezvous with Finn at the beach home, supposedly to apologize, feeling emboldened by her fight with Steffi and the unvarnished, tortured expression in his eyes. Rather, she inquired about his happiness. Like an accusation, the question lingered in the air. Flustered, Finn informed her that it was improper. Luna refused to give up. She assured him that she had feelings for him, that she wasn't embarrassed, and that he could find her if he ever felt invisible or undervalued. Steffi exploded when she learned of this meeting, from a nosy neighbor who caught a glimpse of them through the window. Sheila, near-death experiences, co-parenting drama, but Luna? Her marriage had weathered so much. Luna posed a novel menace. Not chaotic, not violent, yet intimate. Sentimental. Finn had told her about herself. She was dangerous because of that. That evening, Steffi went up to Finn and demanded to know if he was attracted to Luna. He declined, but his hesitancy was telling. The house rocked from their argument. Back in Liam's room, Hope made a decision that even shocked her. She proposed to him. Once more. That's right. She believed in the present, not because she thought there would be a happy ending. Perhaps it was the most truthful thing she had ever uttered. When Carter learned of Bridget's spontaneous proposal, he was shocked. Hope had previously seemed like his second opportunity. He understood now that he was merely a stand-in for a lady who never stopped loving the man she was going to lose. Furthermore, Bill's reckoning was far from ended. He realized that no amount of strength could stop what was about to happen as he stood on the Spencer rooftop that night and looked out at the lights of Los Angeles. And Bill Spencer felt helpless for the first time in his life. Heartbreakingly, fully human. It was obvious that nobody in the City of Angels was immune to the consequences. Not Shin, not Luna, not Hope, and most definitely not Bill. As Hope Logan's desperation goes out of control, Luna Nozawa's stunning paternity secret threatens to ruin numerous lives, and Steffy Forrester holds fast against the mayhem. The Bold and the Beautiful has reached a fever pitch. The acrimonious conflict between Liam Spencer and his father, Bill Spencer, worsens in the meantime, leaving emotional devastation in its wake. Each plot line weaves together in a web of deceit, manipulation, and unfiltered emotion, demonstrating once more how love and devotion are continually put to the test in the B&B industry. Once the picture of poise and fortitude, Hope Logan has grown more and more hopeless as her marriage to Liam breaks down. Although it began as a passionate moment, her affair with Thomas Forrester has developed into a serious identity dilemma. Hope's internal struggle is evident as she secretly longs for the thrill and approval Thomas offers while clinging to the image of the loving mother and wife. She is emotionally disengaged as a result of this dualism, and her latest attempts to persuade Liam to stay only serve to underscore her increasing instability. Her vulnerability is undermined by a sense of manipulation when she cries and begs Liam to re-evaluate their divorce, as though she is using his residual love for her as leverage instead of dealing with the underlying causes of their problems. Although Liam falters, reminded of Hope's treachery by Steffy's influence, he is divided between duty and desire. Never one to hold back, Steffy Forrester has come to represent harsh honesty in this story. Having experienced her own turbulent past with Liam, she is unwilling to allow him to relapse into what she perceives to be Hope's destructive pattern. Protecting her family's stability is the real reason behind Steffy's protectiveness toward Liam, not merely their romantic past. She is fully aware of the damage caused by Hope's indecisiveness and Thomas's fixation, and she refuses to see history happen again. The tension is intense when she confronts Hope. Steffy's scathing remarks pierce deeply, accusing Hope of emotional manipulation and selfishness. Hope responds angrily, accusing Steffy of meddling and implying that she is merely shoving Liam away in order to retain him for herself. Once focused on Liam's love, their rivalry has turned into a struggle for moral superiority, with Steffy portraying herself as the realistic and Hope as the idealistic idealist. As the truth about Luna Nozawa's parentage becomes apparent, her entire world is collapsing. The discovery that Bill Spencer might be her biological father has transformed what started as a harmless romance with R.J. Forrester into a nightmare. The ramifications are profound. Luna's relationship with R.J. is unsettlingly incestuous, as she may be related to the very guy whose family she is involved with. After being kept hidden for decades, Poppy Nozawa's secret now poses a threat to several relationships. Luna is devastated. She feels deceived by her mother's falsehoods and is afraid of losing R.J., the only person who gave her security. Ridge and Brooke struggle with the aftermath, while R.J., torn between astonishment and love, finds it difficult to digest the bombshell. The consequences shock the Forresters, who are no strangers to controversy, and Bill's response, whether he accepts fatherhood or rejects the truth, will determine Luna's destiny. Ever the wild card, Bill Spencer is at the center of yet another shocking discovery. Long suppressed, his past with Poppy comes to light with devastating results. Since Bill is a man who relies on control and an unexpected daughter upends his meticulously planned life, his initial disbelief is understandable. But Bill finds himself at a moral juncture as Luna's existence becomes indisputable. Will he come clean and accept her, or will he withdraw into denial and let Luna bear the repercussions of his previous transgressions? His relationship with Liam adds another level of conflict. Already alienated by their divergent morals and Bill's cunning business methods, this new development may cause them to grow much more distant or may necessitate an uncomfortable reconciliation. Disgusted by yet another of his father's secrets, Liam might end himself standing up for Luna, if only to get even with Bill. Liam's hatred for his father is getting worse every day, and the Spencer men's feud has reached a boiling point. Liam's idealism and Bill's ruthless outlook on life, whether in business or personal affairs, have always been at odds, but Luna's paternity disclosure gives their argument a very personal touch. After years of battling Bill's manipulations, do you recall the almost fatal helicopter crash? Liam now witnesses his father's careless actions harming yet another innocent person. Although his rage is self-righteous, his protective instincts come into play. Liam has made many mistakes of his own, and his hypocritical attitude toward Bill is blatantly hypocritical. Bill, who never backs down, will probably strike back with icy accuracy, igniting a full-scale conflict. The Bold and the Beautiful provides its trademark mix of intense drama and emotional upheaval as these plotlines clash. Both women are enmeshed in webs of deceit that are not wholly their own, and Hope's despair is a reflection of Luna's broken innocence. The clash between Liam and Bill highlights the cyclical cycle of family conflict, while Steffy's aggressive confrontational manner stands in stark contrast to Hope's collapsing facade. These threads are expertly woven together in the show, guaranteeing that no character escapes unharmed. What comes next? Before regaining her agency, Hope can reach her lowest point. Bill's decisions will determine whether he will accept Luna or reject her. If Liam falters once more, Steffy's triumph over Hope might not last long. Regarding Bill and Liam, their conflict has the potential to either cause irreversible harm or compel a long overdue reckoning. There is no doubt that the repercussions will be spectacular, in typical B&B flair. Liam Spencer's last request to Finn brings Steffy and Hope together. Although his body was deteriorating, his heart, filled with love, guilt, and clarity, beat with a final purpose as he asked Finn to sit next to him in the quiet silence of his hospital room, the monitors gently ticking in time with his waning breath. Outside, the world continued its sun-soaked indifference, but inside that sterile room, Liam had one last mission, one last plea before time took away from him what illness hadn't yet taken away: his voice, his choice, and his ability to ask for peace. He wasn't actually asking for himself. He didn't request more time, pardon, or even a last conversation with Wyatt, Brooke, or Bill. No, Liam's greatest desire was for Hope and Steffy, the two people he had loved most in the world, to find healing, not just after his death, but during it. Liam gripped Finn's wrist with unexpected strength and whispered, "Don't let them tear each other apart over me," as Finn leaned in, clearly torn between his medical detachment and the developing personal bond he'd developed with the man before him. Decades of history, affairs, betrayals, children, marriages, and missed opportunities, all culminating in this quiet moment where Liam's life was coming to an end. "Assure me," Liam continued, looking directly at Finn, "that you will bring Steffy and Hope together. Don't let my memory be the reason they remain enemies." Finn, a scientist, didn't think that divine timing existed, but his most clinical defenses were broken by Liam's urgency and unadulterated sincerity. And he agreed slowly, knowing that this vow would alter everything, even though he had always been conflicted between his complicated empathy for Hope and his allegiance to his wife, Steffy, especially after the turbulence of the past several months. Liam was unaware of the practical impossibility of that request and the amount of work it would need of Finn, who was already juggling a delicate balance between his personal disarray and his professional obligations. Broken and unable to sleep, Hope had given in to her sorrow and was living beside Liam's bedside, unwilling to go, and continuing to say affirmations to a man she could hardly touch without shaking. In contrast, Steffy's love for Liam was more subdued and resigned. It had long since transformed into protectiveness and respect, but her pain was still very much present. She parented through the anguish, cried in secret, and put on a brave front that deceived everyone save her husband. In addition to their love triangle, which is notorious in the history of B&B drama, the two ladies were grieving the same man in very different ways, and it now threatened to turn into a lifetime rivalry. Finn, too? As Liam had planned, he found himself in the center. Unspoken blame and unhealed scars dominated the tension in the Spencer family home in the days after Liam's last whisper. Hope held herself responsible for failing to recognize the warning signs sooner and persuading Liam to pay attention to his symptoms. In her quietest moments, Steffy resented the world for taking away her children's father figure and possibly even Hope. Although none of them said the words, they reverberated in the void between them any time they came into contact, whether it was intense family reunions or quiet hospital hallways. The silence was finally broken by Finn. Finn summoned both women to the Cliff House a few days after Liam's death, which left Los Angeles's media and fashion elite in a state of sadness. Both were hesitant and cautious when they came separately. Hope, who appeared pallid, was holding a locket that contained a photograph of Liam. Arms clasped across her chest like armor, Steffy was steel, clad in black. Finn started, "He asked me to do this." They exchanged a quick glance before turning away. Liam's last request wasn't for himself, it was for the two of you. Hope's eyes immediately filled with tears as Finn went on. He wanted you to forgive each other and to stop living in the past he represented. He said that? Steffy muttered a snicker to herself. He did, of course. Finn continued, unfazed, always trying to fix everything right up until the end. Even if you don't want to acknowledge it, he understood how much you two meant to him and to one another. He thought you two could heal each other. Hope blinked, attempting to take in the information. Steffy's mouth tightened. This load that he left us? Over his grave, to become great friends? Finn gave a headshake. No. However, he no longer desired to be the wedge. The words lingered like fog over the ocean, slowly clearing. He didn't want to be the reason you stayed enemies. Steffy turned away, wiping a tear she hadn't noticed had dropped, and Hope eventually broke the stillness with a tiny voice. I don't know if I can. Neither do I. However, Finn was aware that now was the best moment to try. Thus, he abandoned the two of them there, by alone, in the home where so many of their life's events had taken place. There was silence at first. Then, gently but firmly, Hope said, I didn't come here to fight. Steffy laughed, fatigued and dry-eyed. I didn't either. Hope nodded and said, I think we're past that. She said simply, I loved him. I understand, Steffy said. So did I. Then, suddenly, something changed. Nor healing, nor resolution, but comprehension. The initial fissure in the wall separating them. Over the ensuing weeks, there was a gradual thaw rather than a miraculous change. Separately and then together, they went to grief counseling. They assisted their kids in dealing with the loss. At a memorial gathering they co-hosted at Forrester Creations, they debuted a new non-profit line in Liam's honor that is devoted to brain cancer research and helping patients' families. They even discovered fleeting but genuine moments of laughter. Recall. Backed. By doing this, they fulfilled Liam's last wish in a way he never would have thought possible, by breaking free from the bonds of rivalry rather than becoming best friends. And as Finn observed from afar, he came to the surprising realization that Liam's desire had not just altered them. He had also been altered by it. He had discovered his own position in this complicated, terrible family by bearing the weight of another man's last request. He was no longer merely Steffy's husband but a link between the past and the future, between suffering and peace. As a result, Liam's spirit might have endured, not just in memory, but also in the legacy of love, selflessness, and the kind of healing that only the brave and the beautiful dared to try.